In the far northwest of Telor, a civilization which has endured cataclysms and time alike holds deep roots into the very earth. The cultures of Pwyl and Druid are only the two greatest of the quote, Stonehelm peoples to reside here. The namesake of the group, the ancient Stonehelm humans, were some of the first inhabitants of the continent, and the first to develop a complex religion which went beyond simple cave paintings. The Hlunic Path, as the Stonehelm religion of Pwyl and Druid is called, is the eldest faith in the world, even older than the religions of the long-lived Fae to the east. The Hlunic Path is a faith of animism, where everything, from pebbles to trees to animals to oceans and to the very world itself, have a spirit, or Veyar. In the Hlunic tradition, all Veyar are equal, and all things in Telor each have their own right to existence. This belief has shaped the Pwylic culture more than most, and influences much of the modern politics in the region. Veyar are said to be destroyed upon death if the proper rites are not performed. It is the gravest of sins to kill another living thing and not perform the rite of resting to send its Veyar into the beyond. The consequences for which are terrible, having one's own Veyar trapped within a sword or a book, and being used as a tool for eternity. This means that whenever a hunter kills an animal, they must perform a simple rite to carry the animal's Veyar into the afterlife. Animals of great spiritual significance require longer and more complex rites of resting, and some rituals, like the sacred Great Elk or the Kurten, must be undertook by a druid. As such, these sacred animals are only hunted for great celebrations and festivals in Pwyl. The same also goes for anything which must be harvested from the natural world. Trees, stones, crops, all of them have their own spirit, their own Veyar in the Hlunic tradition. So, rites must also be performed for the felling of trees, the harvesting of crops, or the quarrying of stone. A single rite before a day of harvesting, felling, or mining is considered sufficient by the Druids, as a ritual for every single bough of grain or rock mined would be extremely tedious and drive several workers probably half mad. Protection of sending Veyar into the afterlife has nurtured a strong stewardship role in the Pwylic religion and culture. The Pwylic and most Hlunic practitioners at that believe that humanity was created to be a gentle guiding hand for the rest of the world, to give anything that they took to the beyond. To the Pwylic, humanity was made by Culfan Torsun to be guardians of the world, not destroyers. Culfan Torsun was the original Veyar. She was a god in all but name, all spiritual power and significance centered into her Veyar. Culfan Torsun disliked her cold, empty world, devoid of art, song, and wonder. So, she gave a piece of her own Veyar to the stars, so that they should know reason and justice. The stars were the first things to have their own Veyar, splinters of the original spirit of Culfan Torsun. Culfan gave more and more of her own Veyar, awakening a cold, empty world into a world of song and tumult and wonder. However, in Culfan's generosity, the demonic Greldorfing stole much of her Veyar and used it to create all evils and terrible things. With the last of her own spirit, Culfan Torsun gave the greatest sum of her Veyar to humanity, so that they could be stewards of all other things, and so that they could fight the demonic Greldorfing. The Pwylic Druids are called Druids, though the terms Druid and Druid are used interchangeably, and are some of the most powerful men and women in the region. They learn from childhood, word by word, the Telor law from their elders, as such important codes of religious practice and law are not written down. The duties of the Druid extend into many areas. They are religious leaders, judges, and doctors all at the same time. A Pwylic village always has at least one Druid, and the larger towns have full guilds of the Druids, with different practices to other Druidic guilds. The importance of Druid in politics differs from clan to clan, with the Druid of Clan Turuthlaver and Heloriv having little Druidic influence in politics, and Clan Urifeller being ruled entirely by quote high Druids. Most of the time, however, they act as advisors and trusted agents to relevant rulers, while also keeping said rulers in check and organizing resistances against any clan makers who violated the Pelor law. Druids tend to wear cloaks of sewn together fallen leaves and antlers taken from beasts of legend, so great that their Veyar earned them names. These head ornaments are not always antlers, sometimes they are horns, teeth, and claws, arranged in the shapes of crowns or circlets. The types of leaves also change, and seem to never wilt or wither, no matter how long they are woven into a druidic cloak. The type of tree used in the cloak or staff is indicative of a Druid's rank in their particular clan or guild. Snowbark marks the lowest rank, and the large leaves of the Onmore tree the highest. Despite these differences, all Druids wear wooden masks with 6 holes, each one representing a different part of a Druid's Veyar: hope, wisdom, memory, heart, name, and scent. Special carvings or painted symbols are used in a Druid's mask, representing a Druid's clan or field of study they dedicate themselves to. Some Druids are capable of utilizing some form of magic. It is much more subtle and unnoticeable compared to runic magic or thaumaturgy. These powers are expected not to be from Arcanum, but some other primal force, older than the very stars above. When in the presence of a Druid, a person may be more persuadable or talkative, easily spilling long-kept secrets as if there is small talk about the weather. A Druid can exert their will upon someone to minutely affect their mood or emotions, making someone lethargic or more energized, and so on and so forth. Druids can make plants grow quicker and be more bountiful, ease the ferocity of beasts, and turn great monsters upon their enemies. They can do this without a single soul noticing, and only after interacting with a Druid can someone clearly recall the Druid's will reaching outside of their form and exerting itself upon other things. It is unknown how this power is taught, learned, or inborn. However, it has been used in a war. A notable example is the fall of the cursed Castle Laskin. One of the greatest Druids of her order, Melior, was imprisoned by Iridane soldiers in the fortress around 240 years ago. The commander Halloran began executing other captured Pullic Druids and soldiers, one by one cutting them down. Melior could not look on as a friend or relative, the annals are unclear on which, was slain. Telor called upon all of old Earth's power, drawn deep from the fiery heart of Culfan Torsun. She brought forth hundreds of great oaks, which grew the time of century in minutes, sundering man, stone, and steel alike. In the end, none were left alive in Castle Laskin, and the Druids are feared yet respected by both Pullic and foreigners to this day. Of course, very few users of the arcane, both druids and mages, are capable of such incredible feats. However, nonetheless, the Druid's power is renowned as well as their influence. Due to Druids being the main diplomats between foreign nations and Pul, many believe all Pullic to live for 200 years, wear antlers and leaf cloaks, and can summon terrible beasts from thin air. However, most people who deal with the Pullic on a more regular basis know this to be untrue. Out of all the faiths in Telor, the Hlunic Path is easily the most enigmatic. It is extremely ancient, seemingly grants its most devout followers supernatural powers, and can extend someone's lifespan, a thing which many thaumaturgists and Silg mages would greatly desire to study. It is unknown whether the powers of the Druid began the Hlunic Path, or if the Hlunic Path endowed the Druid with their powers. I will cover the history of Pul and the invading Borderlanders in another video, and many of the celebrations, cultures, or rites left out of this video will also be covered eventually. So, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe. I'm sorry that this took so long. I've been very, very busy of late. And Oh, and also liking and subscribing just gets the channel to more people, so if you want that, go ahead. Thanks for watching and cheers!